Hi everybody. I'm going to move on to our third and final online lesson for this unit. It's lesson 7 on chapter 1 in your textbook, and it's around understanding equality. So understanding the balance between two sides in an equation is kind of where we're going with that equality piece. In order to understand equality, we want to understand something called the commutative property. So I would ask you this. If you're adding two numbers, such as 6 plus 5, is that the same as 5 plus 6? Your answer should be yes. They both equal 11. Okay. What about if I was to subtract 6 minus 5 and 5 minus 6? Do those equal the same thing? Are they commutative? The answer should be no. 6 minus 5 is 1. 5 minus 6 is actually negative 1. So they're not the same. Therefore, subtraction does not have the commutative property. So it matters what the order is when you subtract something, where that subtraction sign is. Addition, it doesn't matter where that is. If you add it to anything, you combine them, you're going to get the same answer as if you flip the addition around. What about multiplying? If I said 6 times 5 and 5 times 6, is this the same answer? Yes. Your answer should be yes. That's 30 and that's 30. What about division? Let's say, well, we could use these same numbers, but let's go 30 divided by 5 and 5 divided by 30. Is that the same answer? No. 30 divided by 5 is 6, and 5 divided by 30 is a decimal, I don't know, like 0.17 or something like that. We'll just take a guess. But the actual answer is no. They are not commutative. So it is very important the order that division is done in. It matters. Whereas multiplying, it doesn't matter if you multiply at the start or you multiply at the end, it is commutative. It's going to give you the same answer. 5 times 6 is the same as 6 times 5. Okay, so that's important in understanding how to balance two sides of an equation, which is basically what we're doing with this lesson. So let's look in the textbook, and we'll go to question 1 on page 35. So this lesson is page 33 to 35 in your textbook. And again, I'll give you some supplemental worksheets that your parent can give, and you can work from that. So, in order to be able to balance equations, question number 1, it has 72 divided by 9 and 13 minus 5. And it asks if those two equations are balanced. Well, what's 72 divided by 9? 8. What's 13 minus 5? 8. Those equations will be balanced. Okay? And it asks, how did you find that out? Well, you did the math, and when you get the same answer, they're the same. So 72 divided by 8 is equal to 13 minus 5. We're balancing those equations. What would happen if we then added 10? Okay, 8 plus 10 is 18. 8 plus 10 is 18. We kept the scales balanced, because what we did to one side, we also did to the other. And that's what question 1 is about. Question 2, write an expression with two numbers and one operation. Write 5 different expressions that equal your expression in part A. So writing an expression with two numbers and one operation. So an operation is add, subtract, multiply, or divide, and two numbers are like this. So it wants you to come up with different operations and numbers that are balanced. So let's do another one. Let's say that 16 divided by 8 would be balanced with, let's do an adding question. Well, I know that 16 divided by 8 is 2, so let's go like that. 16 divided by 8 is 2, 1 plus 1 is 2, therefore those two scales are balanced. And now you're going to go through the rest of these questions trying to balance or let us know if they're balanced. Question 4, are the scales balanced? Question 5, addition and subtraction are inverse operations. Okay, so they're opposites. We talked about how subtraction is not commutative. And that's it for that page. So this lesson is actually pretty short and pretty simple. It's mostly about balancing equations, keeping them balanced and understanding when they're the same. Because when you start manipulating equations in the next grade and beyond, you want to keep them balanced. What you do to one side, you have to do to the other side. So I could go 5 minus, 5 minus. But it's important where I write the 5. I don't want to do 5 minus 2 equals 2 minus 5. Okay, so that would be an incorrect way to balance it, because here you're minusing 2 and here you're minusing 5, so it's different. But here, as long as you put the 5 in the front and the minus sign next, you will maintain balance. You're doing the same thing. On this EP, I want you to do question 1 and 2, and it's very simple. You're just balancing the scales. Okay? Do not worry about using counters. It talks about place counters in the left pan and some in the right. Do not worry about the counters. I simply want you to tell me if those scales are balanced. So do the math. In question 2, which expression can be written using the commutative property? So which of those would you be able to do using the commutative property? And remember, the commutative property is only for adding and multiplying. It is not for subtracting and dividing. It does not work for those two. So, give that a go. Again, if you're struggling, there'll be some extra work emailed out. The Mathletics website will help you. And if you have questions, you ask. Good luck with our last one.